What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Wednesday, January 20th. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. Finally, let me know in the comments section who are your favorite options on FanDuel today. We're rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Cole Anthony, Ja Morant, Kristaps Porzingis, Paul George, and DOMANTAS Sabonis. Who will be the top favorites for today? It is time to find out. All right, first up, number 5, we've got Chris Paul, point guard eligibility, 6,900, which is nice. 37.5 fantasy point projection, 46-point goal. He hits the goal 10% of the time. He's in the optimal 19% of the time. 34 minutes, just slightly better than average usage, 16, 8, 5.5 as a baseline projection. Coming into the season, he was basically a 1.15 fantasy point per minute guy. I'm actually projecting him slightly lower than that, and he's still showing up as my number 5 guy. This price tag is just a little bit too cheap for Chris Paul's stature. Probably should be like 72 or 7,300, and squeezing out any value you can is ultra valuable. It's pretty neutral from a pace perspective against Houston. They're actually gaining 1.2 possessions over their average. Nothing to write home about. It's like a half point. That's fine. I just think Chris Paul should be slightly more expensive. Being able to grab a little bit of value in this upper mid tier is really helpful. So Chris Paul, number 5. Next up, number 4, I'm going Ben Simmons. Point guard eligibility, 8,300, projected for 42. Goal is 51. He hits the goal 17% of the time. He's in the optimal 22% of the time. Gonna play big minutes, 36, 37, somewhere in that neighborhood. 21% usage, 16, 9, 7.5. I mean, he's going to do a little bit of everything. Taking on the Boston Celtics, no Jason Tatum, which I think is a pretty big piece for Ben Simmons. Just makes his life a little bit easier out on the floor. Look, if the Philadelphia 76ers are back to full strength, and it appears that they are, Embiid in, Simmons in, Tobias Harris in, Seth Curry in, that's going to be pretty helpful for Ben Simmons. He's going to have a little bit more spacing now that Seth Curry is back. I think that they're going to be cooking a little bit more. It's good to see them at full strength, and if they are at full strength, I have no choice but to look at Ben Simmons at 8,300. All right, next up, number 3, we're going Gary Trent. Shooting guard eligibility, 3,600, projected for 22. The goal is 34.5. Shows up in the optimal lineup 22% of the time. I think we all expected him to do a little bit more with CJ McCollum out. They went to Rodney Hood in the starting lineup. But I think Trent still works on a slate like this because we don't really have a ton of value. And Trent being $100 above the minimum, that's intriguing to me. It's pretty much based on scoring, so he's going to need to get hot with that second unit and potentially close. But 14, 2.5, and 2, it's like a 0.75 guy. It's a neutral pace matchup. I expect Gary Trent to fall out of this list as value opens up throughout the day, but for right now, with him being $3,600, you have no choice but to look at him as a pay down option at shooting guard. Now at number 2, I'm going Aaron Gordon, power forward eligibility, 7K, projected for about 39 fantasy points. The goal's 46. He's hitting the goal 20% of the time. He's in the optimal 23% of the time. The minutes are there now, 33 minutes for this one. Usage bump with everybody out, 25% usage. I mean, I'm projecting him for 19.7 and 5.5. If he can get a steal and a block, even better. He's normally like a just north of 1 fantasy point per minute guy, but because of all of the injuries, he's playing at a much higher rate. He's more like just under 1.2 fantasy point per minute. That is massive at 7K. This is a pace-up spot against a terrible defensive team in the Minnesota Timberwolves. I love every bit of Aaron Gordon. He's not going anywhere on this slate. I expect him to be in the top 5 all day. Just shy of my number 1 play, but you got to get yourself some Aaron Gordon. Now, before we get to number 1, one last reminder, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so that we can get to 50,000 subscribers by the Super Bowl. And finally, let me know in the comments section, who are your favorite options on FanDuel for tonight? And follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. No brainer on this one, even at the big time price tag. Number 1 contender, Damian Lillard, point guard eligibility, 10K, projected for 50. The goal is 57. He's hitting the goal 27% of the time. He's in the optimal 26% of the time. I don't mind the price at all. With no CJ, Dame Lillard has the ability to do whatever it is he wants to do. Massive minutes, massive usage, projecting him for basically 29, 10, and 5 right out of the gate. Not all that worried about Memphis from a defensive standpoint. No Joe Val, so they're a little thin in the front court. Might allow Dame a little bit better penetration. We shall see. Maybe he gets into a little bit of a battle with Ja Morant. That could be fun. Normally a 1.2 fantasy point per minute guy. He's basically 1.3 with CJ off the floor. He's well worth the money. If we get any more value, Dame's value will climb even further. I mean, you can't obviously get further than 1, but I think that he can be in the optimal more often if he becomes a little bit easier to get to a 10K Dame. Either way, with CJ McCollum off the floor, Damian Lillard is the #1 contender for Wednesday's slate. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders for Wednesday, January 20th. I will be back again tomorrow morning with another edition of the Contenders. So good luck tonight. I'll catch you guys in the AM.